You're watching TSN, the Sports Network.
This is TSN Inside Sports. The Sports Network buys the CFL's Toronto Argos from Bruce McNall. Tonight, Gordon Craig, president of TSN, on the new acquisition. Blue Jays president Paul Beeston will run the Argos and hopes some World Series success rubs off on the double blue. And CFL Commissioner Larry Smith on stable ownership for the league's most important franchise. Hi again, everyone, and welcome again to TSN Inside Sports. I'm Brendan Connor, sitting in for Dave Hodge. Well, we step out of our playoff hockey mode tonight to look at a story that's a big deal for the CFL and also for us here at TSN. The Sports Network, which is part of John Labatt Limited, is the new owner of the Toronto Argonauts. Labatt's in the Blue Jays, Molson's in the Montreal Canadiens, Anheuser-Busch in the St. Louis Cardinals, Disney in the Ducks, Paramount in the Rangers, Nintendo in the Mariners. If you detect a bit of a trend here, well, you're right. Corporate ownership of franchises is a growing reality in sports nowadays. In the case of the Argos, TSN buys an ailing football team from a financially troubled owner in Bruce McNall. But the purchase comes at a time when the future of the CFL looks bright. New teams in the U.S. and new owners here at home who want to make the league a success. We'll talk to the new owner of the Argos and the new president and the CFL commissioner. But first, here's TSN's John Wells with a look at the Argo ownership story.
The Toronto Argonaut franchise has a 121-year history, but only 6 different owners. The original team, the Argonaut Rowing Club, was created by Harry O'Brien as a way for his oarsmen to keep in shape. The Argonauts started out as an amateur squad that only played a few games a year, mostly against other club and university teams. The rowing club reign lasted until 1957, when publisher John Bassett and a group of investors purchased the team and ran the organization for 17 years. To most observers, those years were crucial in forming the present-day identity of the Argos.
I thought that the Bassett years were the quality, set the framework for the franchise. He took it over from the organization before and turned it into a free entrepreneurial type of operation. And he represented class to me when he would walk onto the field for a ceremony with his camel hair coat and looked regal. I thought he brought a lot of character to the game of football, and I think those years formed the image that so many Canadians hold about the CFL and why they've hung on for so many years. I like that period probably most. Now, young people wouldn't even know that period, but that's the foundation of this league.
By 1974, hotel owner Bill Hodgson took over and was the sole proprietor until 1979, when the sale to Carling O'Keefe Breweries was completed.
When you get an owner, a corporate owner, let's say like Carling O'Keefe, for one thing, it shows stability and a commitment to the league, to the team, to the fans. As a player, you feel that. You feel more comfortable. You want to do your best for the team, for the owner. It gives you more sense of pride. And it does help on the field. It really does. It's that extra boost or that incentive that makes you go over top.
When Carling's owned us, we were the toast of the town. There was Blue Jays, but they weren't as big as the Argos. In 1981, when I came, we were 2-14, the worst record ever in the history of the Toronto Argonauts, and we had 47,000 people still come to watch and yell and scream at us, And we were everywhere. We were on posters and billboards and things.
Carling O'Keefe managed to build a winner in the early 80s. The formula was simple. Ownership looked after administration, and football decisions were made by football people. By the end of the O'Keefe ownership, the Argos had become a solid franchise that had missed the playoffs only once. The Boatmen faced the Eskimos again in the 1987 Grey Cup game, but fell short by a score of 38-36. A year later, Harry Ornest, the former owner of the St. Louis Blues, bought the team from the brewery.
Harry's approach was a unique approach. He basically didn't want to spend a lot of money, and he wanted to make a lot of money, which is a fairly good business direction to go in. But from the perspective of a sport franchise, I think that you have to front spend a little bit in order to make money in the back end. And from Harry's perspective, I thought that for the short period that he was here, he accomplished what he wanted to accomplish, and we had a decent product. We went 45 seconds away from going to the Grey Cup with his ownership, and we had You know, we had some really marketable players on the team at that point.
According to the Toronto Argonauts media guide, 1991 was considered a Cinderella year. That was the year the Rocket landed in Canada, and a new ownership group bought the team. Media attention on Rahib Ismail was so great that fans across the country came out in droves whenever the Argos were in town. The Double Blue paid back their own fans in kind by winning every single home game during the regular season and capped it off with a Grey Cup victory in Winnipeg. And in the owner's office, a coin collector, a hockey player, and a Hollywood movie star. Bruce McNall, Wayne Gretzky, and John Candy. Three names whose presence renewed interest in the team. But in addition to heightening recognition for the franchise, the McNall Group created an unprecedented atmosphere.
It was a dream year for me as a player, and just to watch the circus of the Toronto Argonauts going around the country and the interest that was generated because of us was due to that ownership group and due to what they did.
When the McNalls came, I mean, your head's always on a swivel. You're playing a game and you're looking behind you, and there's, you know, some more movie stars, some NFL players. You never knew who was down. John would be in the change room with you at halftime, sort of thing, talking to you, or just making sure everything's all right. I mean, Mr. Candy's right there, you know.
The good times didn't last long. In 1992, quarterback Matt Dunnigan left for Winnipeg. The Rockets sputtered, and by September, Adam Rita, coach of the year the previous season, was looking for work. McNall, Gretzky, and Candy were seldom seen around Argo games. Coaches and players who had grown accustomed to good times and the high profiles of the Argo owners in 1991 were surprised at the difference in '92.
Well, basically, if I'd put my finger on it, it's absentee ownership. That doesn't work in the CFL, because the CFL is a very special league. It's been around a very long time. It's a very personal league. It's part of Canadian heritage. And if the owners are not around to promote the team, the league, the players, the management, the fans will lose interest.
Some players understood that Candy, Gretzky, and McNall were busy people. McNall had the Los Angeles Kings to worry about, along with his other business interests. Gretzky, of course, had to lead the Kings on ice. And John Candy had to keep making movies.
You cannot ask a John Candy to give up, you know, 6 months of his career year after year to travel with the team, and with the ownership group being situated over on the West Coast, and you know, it's been a tough economic time, so everybody's had to take care of their own backyard, so it made it difficult.
Changes were in the wind. The Rocket decided the NFL was where he wanted to play, and then on January 28, 1993, the Argos were involved in the largest trade in league history, an 8-for-8 deal with the Edmonton Eskimos. It didn't help when the Argos missed the playoffs for a second straight year. The idea was then to gear up for a stronger 1994. But the Argos' on-field woes were mirrored on the business side. Bruce McNall's financial empire was reputed to be in trouble, and Wayne Gretzky was said to want out of football ownership. Then the Argos lost perhaps their biggest booster when John Candy died this March of heart failure while filming in Mexico. It seemed the Argos were definitely for sale, and eventually a buyer stepped forward. TSN, the sports network. The sale was announced today after weeks of delay while a number of legal issues were settled.
I feel at this time that the organization is in most fantastic hands, and as the commissioner said, it's going to be one sensational season and a sensational year. And I'm only too pleased to introduce the new head of the ownership, and we've gone to no expense, really. I took this out of the store for Gordon Craig, and I think at this time we'd like to make him an official Argonaut.
To some, the idea of a broadcaster owning a sports franchise may seem unusual, but it's not unprecedented. And the Argos' past president doesn't expect an impact on the team's day-to-day operation.
Oh, I don't think that matters. You had CBS, they owned the mighty Yankees, and I don't think that affected the operation. It's a case of where the money is. There's man at work, there's money at work. This is money at work through the people who are using it. You have the Toronto Sun who's involved in the stadium. Does that mean the other papers wouldn't cover the stadium? I don't think it matters. I think what it does, it adds credibility and stability to a franchise that is very important to the nation, not alone Toronto, to the nation.
Success is something familiar to the Toronto Argonauts. The team and the league have a rich history. Now, a new corporate owner takes over the CFL's cornerstone franchise at a time of expansion and uncertainty, but with obvious hope for the future. For TSN Inside Sports, I'm John Wells.
And coming up next, the new owner and the new president of the Toronto Argonauts. Gordon Craig, president of TSN, will be here to talk about the deal. And we'll also talk to Paul Beeston, a name familiar to Blue Jays fans, will now wear another sports hat at the Sky Dome. Well, we would have liked to include Wayne Gretzky and Bruce McNall on our list of interviews about the sale of the Argos today, but both men declined public comment. Instead, a spokesman for Bruce McNall released a statement from Los Angeles which says, in part, the difficulties of running a business from 3,000 miles away took a toll on the ownership group. We all would have liked to dedicate more time to the development of the CFL in Toronto, but after an exhilarating yet exhausting first year, full hands-on ownership became more complex with everyone's schedules. I'm nonetheless encouraged, says McNall, that the outstanding tradition of the Argonauts and the CFL will continue under the new ownership. Both Wayne and I wish them all the success in the world. As TSN takes over, there are people who will ask, why? Why invest in a money loser? Estimates put the McNall Argo losses into the multi-millions over the 3 years. Gordon Craig is the president and chief executive officer of the John Labatt Limited Broadcast Group. Gordon, thanks for joining us. I'm not sure if congratulations should be in order in everybody's view or not, but I guess I will say it's a big undertaking, you and the TSN group buying the Toronto Argos. How do you feel today?
Very excited. I think congratulations are due. We believe that it's terrific for the JLL Broadcast Group of family of companies, and we're delighted that we're now part of the CFL family through the Toronto Argonauts. I think it's a great day.
Well, the reason I suggest that some people may not feel congratulations are in order is because the Toronto Argonauts have not been all that successful last couple of years, not making the playoffs, losing money, not attracting people. What made you want to buy a beleaguered football team like this?
Well, there are a number of reasons, and first of all, I guess I have to declare I wear my heart a little bit on the sleeve. I am a dyed-in-the-wool football fan, a CFL fan. But there's some very good business reasons. First of all, the CFL delivers a very important stream of Canadian programming to both TSN and RDS, our French language network, a sister network. And that stream of programming is very important to TSN. I think we do 28 or 30 games a year. The league to continue to grow and to prosper needs a strong cornerstone franchise in Toronto, and to that end, we step forward and are going to ensure that happens. I also believe, quite honestly, that well managed, with product back on the field, with the faith of the football fan in this community restored and a bond built with the team, that it becomes on its own a very viable business proposition as well, Brendan.
Now, how can you do that, Gordon, as a corporate owner? Aside from signing the big checks, how do you and the management team revitalize CFL football in Toronto? It has to be everything down to the marketing department, I guess, has to really start working hard on this.
Well, I think the solution that we announced today is a very big part of that. We announced that Paul Beeston, the president of the Toronto Blue Jays, has agreed to accept a dual role. He will be president of the Toronto Argonauts as well. He will have Pat Gillick, responsible for baseball operations, reporting to him, and he will have Bob Obilovich, the general manager and head coach of the Toronto Argonauts, reporting to him on football matters. Paul's style, and what's developed a winning combination for the Toronto Blue Jays, is to let the sports management manage the sports side of the business. And he will bring that enthusiasm, he'll bring that expertise. The organization has great marketing, great administration, and that will all be brought to support the rebuilding of the Argos. And as I say, Paul's style is such that he will allow the football people to build the on-field product. And as I heard him say earlier today, perhaps Pat Gillick is also the best marketing director that he's ever had, because with the product on the field, it becomes easier to market. And we're going to look at Bob Obilovich as as the best marketing director that we can possibly recruit. He'll put the product on the field, and it's easier then to sell tickets.
One last question, Gordon. This is a kind of uncharted territory, having a TV network own a football team. I wonder how it'll affect, if at all, the TV rights, the sponsorship, the relationship you'll have to have with CBC regarding telecasting CFL football games.
Well, I honestly don't believe there'll be any change at all. First of all, TSN and the CBC both buy the CFL football rights from the league. And interestingly enough, as the cable rights holder, we choose our schedule after the conventional broadcast rights holder, the CBC. So nothing in that territory will have changed at all. We expect that those relationships will very much stay as they are now. But there is precedent for this. There are broadcast organizations who also own sports franchises, and I guess the one that jumps to mind is Madison Square Gardens, where there's a hockey club and a basketball club and the sports facility and Madison Square Gardens cable network all rolled up into one management group. And the synergies and the efficiencies of that have been well known in the sporting and the broadcasting world for some time, and perhaps we're looking to emulate that a little bit.
Well, you sound confident you can make it work. We'll see. Good luck with it, and thanks for joining us today.
Thank you very much.
A hugely successful man from a hugely successful organization was given a real challenge today. Paul Beeston, the Blue Jays president, added the president of the Argos to his resume. Can he duplicate, though, his successful baseball record? Paul Beeston joins us from Skydome. Well, Paul, a big day. Now you wear another hat, and now Canadian sports fans get to see that cigar-chomping, smiling face walking the sidelines of a football field as well. How do you feel?
Well, I don't think I'll be walking the sidelines, Brendan. I think that perhaps I'll just sit up in the box where I'm supposed to be, stay out of the way, and maybe between games give any support that I can give. I think that's the way that I quite like doing it in baseball. The focus should be Obi and the players, just like it is with Cito, Pat, and the players in baseball. But I think it's exciting, and I think it's going to be fun, and I think that we can bring something to it. We'll clearly bring a lot of effort, and I think we'll bring a lot of detail, and most importantly, I think we'll bring some fun to it, and we'll try to restore this so it'll be great.
What exactly do you think you'll do to revitalize football in what's become a pretty apathetic football city?
Well, I don't know right now, and I think it's too soon to say that. What I do know that we're going to do is we're going to sit down with each of the individuals that are involved in the various areas, but specifically Obi. I mean, you got to look at it from the point of view of the football team itself. That is what draws. I mean, so we've got to make sure that we have the best product that we can possibly have on the field. If we have the best product and that product can win, then hopefully anything that we can do to spread the message will be something that will bring the people into the stadium. We've got to make it a place where you can have some fun. Hopefully it'll be the same in some respects as it was back in the late 70s. I mean, I don't think that we have to say, let's do it just like the Blue Jays. But I think we can do it, say, let's do it like the Argos of old. Let's make sure that we win. Let's make sure that we have some fun. Let's make sure that it's a place to go on a Saturday night.
How are you going to have time and energy for all this while you're also the president of the Toronto Blue Jays, and these seasons overlap?
Well, the seasons do overlap, but I think with organization, I can make better use of my time. I think I'll be able to do it, Brendan. It'll make it difficult, but I think that we have an organization. People like Bob Nicholson, George Holm, Howie Stark, and Paul Marco. You can go through the whole group of them, and I think if you look and see what they can bring to it, there are some synergies, and my role should be to make sure that we have the right people in the right place and that only get involved in a few of the tougher decisions.
What are your thoughts on a sports network like TSN owning a football team in the CFL?
I think it's good. I mean, I think it shows a commitment to the CFL. I think it shows a commitment to Canadian football. It's an exciting game, and the fact of the matter is that I think it's a good marriage between the two of them. And if we can say that it's a good marriage between the three of us, the CFL, the TSN, and the Toronto Blue Jays, I think even better. But I think we're all committed to making sure that we have a great product, and I think Larry Smith has done a great job in expanding the league. There's obviously interest. If there wasn't interest, there wouldn't be people that wanted to have teams in other cities. So let's go out this year and try to do the best we can and be playing at the end of November like we try to do in baseball at the end of October.
Well, I know you went to Western and University. They have good football there, so you probably know good football when you see it. Maybe they have the right man in charge.
Well, I would hope that the right man in charge can put the right people in charge, if that's in fact the case. If I'm the right guy, my goal would to make sure that we have the right football people that can bring the talent to the proper place.
Well, you've got the good resume. Good luck with the job. Thanks for joining us, Paul.
Brendan, thanks very much. I appreciate it.
Okay, next on TSN Inside Sports, the view from the CFL's head office. We'll be speaking with CFL Commissioner Larry Smith about the Argos' new ownership group right after this. Well, CFL Commissioner Larry Smith has been busy over the last couple of years, wooing wealthy Americans and singing the praises of CFL football. But for a change, he welcomes a new owner to the league who knows all about the league already. Larry Smith is also in Toronto. Larry, thanks for joining us. Big day for you. I know you're always happy on these kinds of days when somebody with deep pockets joins the CFL ownership group.
Well, there's no question that having the sports network and the affiliation with John Labatt's is a major coup for the Canadian Football League. It adds stability to one of the pillar franchises in our league, which is the Toronto franchise. Now with Bill Comrie in Vancouver, we think we've restructured this league exactly the way we want it.
Tell me about what led to this deal and the discussions you may have had with the John Labatt broadcast group and with Gordon Craig and company, and how it all came to fruition today.
Well, from a strategic point, the league felt that the Canadian Football League was a vital property to TSN, which is one of our partners in terms of the broadcast of CFL games. And the idea came to talk really starting last fall with TSN about getting involved with the Argos, and it just grew from there. For us, it's a significant milestone because many of the sports properties in North America are starting to get closer to media and forming partnerships with media.
Did TSN or the Labatt parent company express to you any doubts or worries or reservations about, you know, the constant concern about the CFL's viability and its future and whether the league was going to go down the tubes or expansion to the States? What were their reservations, if any?
Well, I think that after seeing what we've done to restructure the league, after seeing the imposition of the salary caps that we have and the whole, I guess the repositioning of the cost structure of the league, our league is a very viable product right now, and as a matter of fact, our league has the biggest growth potential of any of the other professional sports leagues in North America. If you look at hockey right now, if you look at the National Football League and you look at baseball, these leagues have major structural problems, and they're one word: salaries. The salaries are totally out of control. We feel that we have the controls in place, and we have a lot of upside in front of us. And I think TSN realizes that the growth opportunities are much larger than the risks.
What are your feelings on the alliance between the Blue Jays, the Sky Dome, and the Toronto Argos? Gordon Craig saying that he's just going to try and meld those two franchises together from a marketing standpoint, and actually the hiring of Paul Beeston as well. Well,
I couldn't be happier to have Paul on board as one of the key managers of a franchise. He brings his expertise and success from the Blue Jays, and of course, if you ask what marketing organization do you want to be affiliated with, I think probably 99.9% of Canadian corporations would say the Blue Jays. For us, it's a win-win situation, and if we can learn 5% of what these guys have done with baseball, then I think we'll be highly successful.
Will this help at all in your aspirations of getting CFL football back into Montreal and possibly down into Atlantic Canada at all?
Well, I think it can do nothing but help us. It's going to be a positive plus for the Hamilton franchise because now our Southwestern Ontario teams are bolstered with new ownership and stronger ownership. And of course in Montreal, with the association of RDS, which is a sub of TSN, it's going to be a great boost for the CFL in terms of its acceptance in that city and province.
Okay, congratulations again on pulling off this deal, Larry. Thanks for joining us.
Well, thank you very much, Brendan.